Hi, I'm Randy Altman with Post Perspective. I'm here with Dell Technologies' Matt Allard and Tom Burns, and we're here to talk a little bit about SIGGRAPH. Welcome, guys.
So SIGGRAPH has really made some great strides in their virtual presence this year for exhibitors like Dell Technologies. So we're really happy to be there. The thing that we found for these kinds of virtual events is it really is all about customer presentations, education, things that you might learn from other people in industry when you're at a physical show. And so we've tried to embrace that with our Dell Technologies presence. We actually have three different 25-minute sessions as part of our presence this year. The first session is a conversation between me and Dale Carmen with Groove Jones. Groove Jones is a pretty interesting company that does a lot of experiential VR. In fact, one of the reasons I was excited to talk about with them is because they just completed a experiential environment at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona in person. So it was a pretty amazing thing. It's the first one I'd heard about. So it's a fun conversation with Dale about kind of their creative process and the kinds of things they're trying to do in experiential AR and VR. Beyond that, we've hosted Foundry and the Nuke product team talking about the next release of Foundry Nuke. They've done a lot of work in the area of their HDR pipeline, and particularly their viewing pipeline for HDR. And we have a relatively new high dynamic range monitor. That's a 1000 nit HDR 1000 monitor, which is really making its way into some of these professional HDR workflows. And so they're kind of showing their pipeline, what they've done new in Nuke 13, and of course how the monitor and our workstations play into that. And then the last session is another kind of customer-oriented session aimed at a conversation around Omniverse. We're seeing Omniverse as a really exciting platform for collaboration across multiple industries. So in fact, what we did is we brought in Dan Stein with Lake Plato Architects and Kristen Suvlis with Like a Photon Creative, really two different industries, to talk about the challenges they're facing in collaboration. And from there, we really talked to Jeff Kember with NVIDIA and Gary Radburn with Dell about the potential for what Omniverse can do to help solve some of the collaborative problems that they have. So kind of a fun session, cross-industry, very much like the spirit of SIGGRAPH, and sharing a little bit about what the technology could provide for these broad teams that are collaborating across broad geographies.
Fantastic. And Tom, fill us in on what's going to be going on with storage, virtualization, all of the above.
Sure thing, Randy. The customer presentations and creative use cases that Matt was talking about, they're the ones that attract the artists because they're visually stunning even at a virtual exhibition. So in the background, in the data center, the new stuff that's coming out from Infrastructure Solutions Group, my group being unstructured data, Isilon for file and ECS for object. It's been ages since I've talked to you, and all of the product lines have had some really cool improvements. Instead of always starting with Isilon, one of the things that Dell Technologies has really gotten behind is the idea that it's not just a hybrid cloud workflow anymore, but it's a hybrid between multiple public hyperscalers for different bits of compute. And how do you manage an asset-based workflow when you're trying to cope between three public hyperscalers, your own on-prem, and boutiques and work from home? I mean, the whole infrastructure, or the whole work from home has blown up and shown us. And really this kind of distributed geographic collaboration is going to be with us forever. So all kinds of Dell Technologies innovations on the cloud front from multi-cloud, as I mentioned, to if you're burst rendering and you need performant file right inside your GCP control panel, you can now get OneFS hard product on demand for those high IOPS burstable VFX loads. And as well, if you have a private or a hybrid cloud, then we can manage that for you and give that to you as a pure OpEx or cloud business model. But the real news in light of recent business announcements are tighter integration with Superna for the ransomware product, as well as new integrations and new capabilities that the Superna product has for preemptive detection of, like, when you've got a malicious actor loose in your network, it can do things right there in real time. And of course, having an automated DR strategy air gapped by our own SyncIQ to a disaster recovery Isilon is the gold standard of protection and lets everybody sleep at night. And beyond that, it's just more nodes. We've got ECS, our elastic cloud storage, our object store. We've got file-based, all flash-based ECS nodes, so that people who are doing, OTT origin serving, and they want to add things like catch-up TV as a feature. So now we've introduced software features that will allow that to have a more economical storage footprint, as well as a whole whack of new flash-based nodes. The F200 and F600 have come out since I last spoke to you. And now with the F900, all NVMe, backed by 100 gig NFS over RDMA for really smoking hot, low latency, the kind of thing that can feed an on-prem render farm. And then when you look at our data focus, integrating that on-prem render farm into your hybrid multi-cloud workflow, that's the way that the machine room or the data-first architecture of the future looks like from Dell's point of view.
Thanks for that. Now, you touched on a couple of things I was going to ask about. One is with people working from everywhere now, is security. Also, what do you, both of you, take as you need? What do you see happening with people working remotely, working in studio, combination of both? Where do you see things happening in 6 months from now, a year from now?
Matt, do you want to tell the workstation side of the story?
I can start there. Yeah, I think ultimately this is a really strong story across both businesses at Dell, because we can start in a workstation environment, local compute. Those workstations can go into a data center and be remotely accessed with like a Teradici, our primary partner for remote access. You can go even further and take a single workstation and virtualize it using techniques like NVIDIA's vGPU and make it available to multiple users. And so the idea that customers can be anywhere and get their compute anywhere that's comfortable, that kind of lets our customers operate in that, from desktop to edge to cloud to data center kind of environment. And that's what I see our customers heading for. It's not a homogeneous kind of approach. Everybody has their own approach, and whether that's putting high power mobiles into people's hands or giving them virtual access from the data center, it's really a combination of all of the above. And that's where Dell really plays nicely in terms of the overall infrastructure story.
Absolutely, as well as the creative artist front-facing solutions. What we're seeing now is that work from home has exposed essentially a data management problem everywhere in our geographically distributed workflow. So as well as the artist-facing solutions that Matt described, we've got an awful lot of API-driven workflow orchestration solutions that can make sure that the data an artist needs on a given shot, if they log into Shotgun and somebody else has versioned something in the middle of the night, they can use the Shotgun plugin for our Data IQ product that goes and at the API level goes into the Isilon hybrid cloud world, grabs the right version of the asset and puts it in their Shotgun workspace ready for them to go to work. So it's the back end or middleware kind of API layer solutions that we're addressing on the infrastructure side, that we're addressing to fix what is essentially a global data migration problem.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have a lot of solutions for people working in studio or at home or both. And all of that will be on display at SIGGRAPH. Can you tell people where they could go to find out more about Dell Technologies? And also, I guess they could just search the SIGGRAPH site to find you. Exhibitors.
Right. Yeah. So the exhibitor areas will be, I think, live effectively August 9th, I believe the first day of the show. You can see us in the exhibitor listing today. So we are present there. There's not any of that content yet, but it will be there a little bit later. And of course, always going to delltechnologies.com for, the kind of landing page for all of the technology that and solutions we bring to the market.
Fantastic. Matt, Tom, thanks for joining us. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon in person.
Let's hope. Nice
Thank
to
you.
talk to you, Randy.